I want you to imagine that you're a security analyst at a small company where it is just you and your manager protecting the entire organization. And yes, I know what you're thinking. That's a small security team. But here's the truth. This is the reality for most small and medium sized businesses today. It's another busy Monday morning where you're doing your usual routine, which are reviewing emails, catching up on the latest news, and reviewing your alert dashboard, only to see that it is flooded with 50 new security alerts demanding your attention. As the only analyst, where do you even start? This can be pretty overwhelming, and there is always that slight chance where a real threat could be quietly spreading through your entire network while you're triaging these alerts. But what if I told you that there was a way to automatically mitigate some of these potential threats so that you can continue to focus on triaging without the risk of an active compromise? This is where Wazuh's active response capability comes into play. By the end of the video, you'll learn what the active response module is, how it helps implement incident response, and how to configure it. I'll also provide you with a demo so that you can watch it in action. So, what is Wazuh's active response? Based on Wazuh's documentation, Active Response is a module that helps security teams automate responsive actions based on specific triggers, enabling them to effectively manage security incidents. By automating responsive actions, you can begin to mitigate threats in a timely manner and reduce the risk of an active compromise, which is a huge help, especially if you are part of a small team. When it comes to the Wazuh Active Response module, there are two types of actions that you can configure, and those are stateless and stateful active response actions. Stateless is the one-time action without an event definition to revert or stop them, whereas stateful can be reverted or stopped after a period of time. Now that you know a little bit more about what active response is, let's move on to how we can configure this. To enable and utilize the active response module, you must configure the osec.conf configuration file on your Wazuh server, not the client. What you're looking for is the command block, which is where you'll specify your active response. By default, Wazuh does come out of the box with active response scripts, and you'll see these within the command block as well. However, if you do plan on using a custom active response script that will execute when an alert of a specific rule ID, alert level, or rule group triggers, you'll need to manually add that in a command block. So then Wazuh can reference it within the active response block, which is the next step. This is where you tell Wazuh how you want the active response to be executed. For example, do you want to execute the active response on the local agent itself? Or maybe you want to execute it on your Wazuh server, or maybe on every agent within your environment. I'll provide the documentation in the description down below for you to learn more about Wazuh's active response capability. For your information, out-of-the-box active response scripts are located within the following directory for Linux, macOS, and Windows. I mention this because if you do plan on creating your own custom active response scripts, you must place them within the following directory along with modifying the file permissions. Again, I'll provide a link in the description down below. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly do you start creating a custom active response script or executable? And lucky for us, Wazuh provides a Python template that we can use for reference to help build out our script. However, in this video, I will not be creating a custom script. Instead, I'll provide a demo where we'll use the disabled account active response and the firewall drop to automatically mitigate a suspicious login attempt from an unauthorized location. And with that being said, let's move on to the demo. For this demo, I am using Wazuh version 4.9.2, which is the latest release as of recording. And I've already set up a couple of things, and the first thing is that I've already enrolled my endpoint to my Wazuh manager. As we can see here, we have the MyDFIR-Linux. We'll be using this endpoint to test our active response. The second thing that I did here is that I created a rule. So if I head over to Server Management and click on Rules, head over to Custom Rules, I've created a rule called Successful SSH Logins Originating Outside of the Office. Now if I click on that, our office subnet range is going to be 89.149.52.0/24. And it is going to be looking for the user of MyDFIR. So any successful logins from MyDFIR that is originating outside of our source IP, this alert should trigger. With that being said, let's head over to our Linux server and create our account called MyDFIR. So this right here is my Linux server. And to create my account, I'll just type in add user MyDFIR, enter in my password, and then we can fill in the details or press enter for default. And that is what I'll do. Is the information correct? Yes, it is. Now just double check to make sure the user has been added. I can type in cat/etsy/passwd. And at the bottom here, we can see our account. Perfect. Now, just for sanity's sake, we can switch into that user by typing in su MyDFIR. And I'm currently logged in as MyDFIR, as we can see from the left-hand side. Now that I created the account on my Linux server, let's go back over to Wazuh. Over here, I'll go over to my Discover tab. Within this Discover tab, what I'll do is type in SSHD, and that way it will filter for all SSH related activity. At the bottom, I am going to expand the first event from the top. And the objective here is that I'm going to select the field names that I think is going to be interesting. The first one is the geolocation city name, which is pretty cool. And the second is the geolocation country name. And you know what? I'll select the country name. So all I need to do is click on the toggle column in table. When I click on that, the country name will then be displayed as a column. So let's go ahead and continue to rinse and repeat by selecting the fields of interest. All right, so I went ahead and selected some of the fields, and this is what I ended up with. We have our source IP, country name, the destination user, the rule description, and the full log. So that way I can see the entire log at a glance. And I've also reorganized it as well. If you want to reorganize your columns, you can just hover over the column name, and then you can click on this left arrow or the right arrow, and that will move it accordingly. Just like so. Now that we've configured our table to our liking, I am going to head over to Kali Linux, and then I am going to SSH using the MyDFIR account, and I'll go into the Linux server. Type in yes, and then type in my password. And there you go, I've successfully logged in as MyDFIR. Going back over to our Wazuh, if we scroll down, we can actually see the user of MyDFIR, the country of Romania, and the IP address of 89.149.52.53. And if you recall, this falls under the office range. The rule description is SSHD, authentication success, and we have our full log right here. Back into my Kali Linux machine, I've modified the public IP address, so now the login should be originating outside of the office. I'll go ahead and log back in. Type in my password. Once the login is successful, let's go back over to our Wazuh Discover tab, scroll all the way up and refresh. So from here, we do see a successful login, and the rule description is successful SSH logins originating outside of the office. Now, if we take a look at the source IP address, it is no longer originating from our office IP address, and the country name is United States. That's perfect. So we know for sure that our alert is working as expected. However, if this was an active compromise, the attacker would now have access to our account of MyDFIR. They could change directories, they could list, and they could read potentially sensitive information. And this could be happening while you're triaging your alerts. To reduce the risk of an active compromise, what we can do is start modifying and implementing the active response module. So that is what we're going to do next. To configure our active response module, we need to SSH into the Wazuh manager itself, because what we're interested in is the configuration of the osec.conf file. This particular file can be found under the following directory: /var/osec/etc. If I type in ls, we could see the file of interest right here. To edit our configuration file, you can use whatever you like. Some people like using VI, some people like using nano, and I'll be using nano to configure our configuration file. Once we're in here, I am going to hold Control W, and I'm searching for active-response. Hit enter, and this is the block where we'll specify exactly what our active response is going to do. If we look at the top, we do see our command blocks. Now, if I scroll all the way up, we could see the first command block, which is disable account. And this is the one that we're going to be using. There's also restart Wazuh, firewall drop, again, another one that we'll be using, host deny, route null, Windows route null, and net sh. Now these are all out of the box active response scripts that are already enabled and ready to go. All we need to do is just modify the active response to call those scripts. To get started, I'll go ahead and remove all of this. And what I'll do is type in an arrow, command, disable -account, and then close that off. And this is the active response script that I want to use. Now, let's say if we wanted to use net sh, I would simply replace disable account with net sh. But we are going to be using disable account. The next thing we want to do here is specify the location. So the location is where you want this particular active response to be executed. For me, I am going to say local, and local is essentially saying to execute the active response on the agent itself. So whichever agent that triggered the alert. Go ahead and close out the location tab. And finally, I am going to list out the rules. So what rule should this active response trigger off of? I'll type in 100,002 and we'll close out the rules _ID. And let's just say I forgot what the rule ID was. I can head over to my Discover tab, expand the event that contains my successful SSH login. And if I scroll down under rule ID, I can see it is 100,002. Now I do want to add in another active response. So I'll go ahead and type in active response and command. What I want is the firewall -drop. The location is going to be local. And for the rules, I am going to use the same rule ID. Close out my active response. And there we go. So what this is going to do is once somebody logs in successfully outside of the office, that particular account, which in our demo is the MyDFIR account, will automatically be disabled by using the script of disable-account. In additionally, the source IP address that logged in successfully would also be added to our firewall, which will in turn block that IP address so it can no longer access anything. And that is using this particular active response script. The last thing to do here is just remove these arrows and the one at the top. Awesome. Now go ahead and save it by holding Ctrl X, Y, and enter. And now we can go ahead and start restarting our Wazuh manager. So I'll type in systemctl restart wazuh-manager, and I'll hit tab for auto completion. Once that's done, let's go ahead and check out the status. I'll type in systemctl status wazuh-manager and hit tab for auto completion. We do see it as active and it's running. That is good news. I'll head back over to my Kali Linux, and from here, let's try logging in one more time. Type in SSH, MyDFIR, and in theory, if I log in successfully, the account of MyDFIR should then be disabled, and my IP address should also be blocked. Moment of truth, and it seemed like it worked. So let me head over to my Wazuh Discover, scroll all the way up, and refresh. Now I want you to pay attention to the first two events here. We got our source IP address of the 156, the country name, which is United States, the user is MyDFIR, and our rule description, active response, disable account add. What this tells me is that not only did it disable the account, but also blocked the IP address. And if I take a look at Kali, it's stuck right here. I can't do anything. As a sanity check, we'll head over to our Linux server, and I can type in passwd -S and type in the user of interest, which again is MyDFIR. When I hit enter, we can see that the MyDFIR account has a capital L, indicating that the account is locked. And if I were to SSH into the MyDFIR account, I should get a permission denied. Now I did change my public IP back to the office IP. Type in the password, and there you go. We get a permission denied. Just as a proof of concept here, I'll re-enable this account by typing in passwd -u and type in the username. Now, if I rerun the command, I can see that the MyDFIR account has a capital P now. Going over to my Kali Linux, I am going to type in the password, and I've successfully logged in. So that was the disable account active response. Now we can take a look at the firewall drop. And what that active response script did was that it automatically added the source IP address into our IP tables. So to take a look, I can type in IP tables -- list. And we can see that it is currently dropping all traffic from the IP that successfully logged in outside of the office. That is pretty cool. As you can see, the Wazuh Active Response module can be quite beneficial when it comes to automated threat mitigations. But do be aware that not everything requires automated mitigations, as it is quite possible to do more harm than good. So my recommendation for you is to learn more about your environment and processes before you go ahead and implement automated mitigation using Wazuh's Active Response module. But if done correctly, it can save a lot of time, especially for those smaller security teams. Lastly, if you're ever stuck and require additional information on troubleshooting, Wazuh has amazing documentation that you can reference. And they also have an awesome community where people are willing to help. As mentioned previously, I'll link the documentation and where you can join the community for further assistance down below. This video was sponsored by Wazuh, and a huge thank you to them for their continuous support. And that is it for the video. I hope that you found that informative. If you did, let me know by hitting that like button and subscribe if you want to. Remember to stay curious and do things differently.